Hey, everybody. Welcome to Dangerous Ideas, my new show. Pretty much same as my old show, except new background. Yeah. Welcome to Dangerous Ideas. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me. And please take a second to hit subscribe and everything. Do all that good stuff. But I will be tearing apart this interview between Gavin Newsom and Sean Hannity. And here's the thing: I wouldn't have even cared. I wouldn't have even done anything about it, except that it is a beautiful masterclass in the Overton window, in which is that allowable box of talking points. It is like amazing to see two people going at each other and acting like all of human thought has to be between these two sides, red or blue, Trump or Biden. That's it. That's all the world is. And it really is just a masterclass of that kind of garbage. So please take a second to click subscribe, leave a comment, do all those good things, and let's get into it. So here's the first clip I'm going to play of Gavin Newsom. Most of you know he's the governor of California, and Sean Hannity. And most of you know he's the governor of racist garbage. I mean, they're both it's both garbage, but I'll get into that. But here we go.
I think he's a man of decency and character. I'm really proud of the president. I'm proud of what he's accomplished.
First, I mean, just let's pause there for a second. A man of decency and character. This is a guy with very legitimate, multiple sexual assault claims on his record, Biden. This is a guy who has locked up more black and brown people across the country than anyone in history, maybe. I think probably. This is a guy who has been funded by the big banks his entire career. This is a guy who, like Obama, Trump, Bush, is bombing innocent people around the world on almost a daily basis. And he's a man of decency and character, according to Gavin Newsom. But you'll notice Sean Hannity doesn't push back on that kind of stuff because Trump did all those things too, right? Or most of them. So, Sean Hannity will push back on certain things, but he's got to push back in a way that just benefits Donald Trump or Republicans. He can't push back in a way that is actual reality. You can't actually present reality on these garbage networks.
Strong enough to be president. That's what I'm strong enough. Look what he just did to
Is he? That's what Sean Hannity is concerned about. Is he strong enough to be president? It doesn't actually matter when you have the largest military in the world and you're just willing to drop bombs on innocent people all the time. It doesn't really matter whether Biden is falling over and drooling on himself. There is a machine wrapped around this. There's a military industrial complex wrapped around all of this. And it's going to keep going, whether Biden's drooling and shitting himself or not, whether Trump's off, grabbing women or not. It doesn't matter. It's going to keep running. But is he? But that's Sean Hannity's concern. Is he strong enough to be president?
McCarthy. He ran circles. Look at the vote card.
I didn't like the vote. I wouldn't have voted for it.
Exactly. Kevin got played by the.
So they're talking about the debt ceiling deal that was just made. Now, this is, again, another perfect example of what the Overton window is, of what the allowable talking points are. You have the right and the left on the debt ceiling. Neither of them is going to go, the fuck is the debt ceiling? What is it? It was put in place by these paid-off corporate goons that run our government so that they could have a reason to cut all of the benefits that average Americans rely on, so that they could have a reason to cut money out of public schools, out of transportation, out of food stamps, out of all of the things that make people barely scraping by be able to barely scrape by. That is all it is. And yet neither of them can say that, right? Sean Hannity's got to go at the Republican talking point, and Newsom's got to go from the Democrat talking point, and it's all bullshit.
President of the United States. I'm for results. I'm for results.
I don't think the American people benefit. I like the plan that would have saved $4.8 trillion. All right.
I like the plan that would have saved 4.8 trillion is how Hannity wraps up that clip. As like saving the U.S. prints whatever the fuck we want to print. We print trillions of dollars. It doesn't matter. And Sean Hannity is suddenly concerned with saving money. Why does he want to save money? Oh, he only wants to save money when it's saving it from giving it to incredibly poor people who have been beaten down and torn up by this stupid system. That's when he wants to save money. He doesn't want to save money when we're dropping multi-million-dollar bombs. He doesn't want to save money. He doesn't want to save money when we're spending over $1 trillion on military every year. That's not what he wants to save money on. No. 55%, 60% of discretionary funding. Doesn't want to save money on that. Just wants to save money because there's a free books program down at the library for poor kids. That's where he wants to save the money. That's where he's really, really concerned about. Okay, let's get to a second clip here. As we continue in this masterclass of how to stay within the allowable talking points of our garbage system.
Answering the ones in order. You brought up the economy. On the economy, let's talk about the economy.
You want to give him an A?
Inflation, stubborn around the globe. Let's talk about inflation. It's down 40% since last summer, 10 months in a row, 4.9%. He was just with the UK Prime Minister at 6.9%. Is that because of Biden's?
I think
Fed
Biden's
policy?
Economic and energy policies
Directly impacted the UK's inflation?
No,
or the fact that France is 5.5% or Germany's at 6.1%? On inflation, we're moving in the right direction. On the issue of the border.
What, again, neither of them want to say is that during the pandemic, the U.S. increased the monetary supply by 20%. And most of that was dumped into Wall Street. And even the stuff that was sent to towns and municipalities to help with COVID relief, much of that was spent on cops. Much of that money that the Biden administration sent to these areas was spent on just more authoritarian idiots with guns and court systems and prisons. That was COVID relief. Did that give you relief? That the cop was, they were able to get 3 more idiots with guns out on the street harassing poor people? I feel very relieved about COVID. Now that troglodyte over there has been given a gun and a taser to roam aimlessly around the streets. But that's a big portion of inflation, is the fact that we increased the monetary supply so egregiously during the pandemic, and much of it was sent to Wall Street. And this is the shock doctrine straight up. There's a difficult time for America. Well, what do? Well, we dump money into Wall Street. We dump money into corporate America. We dump money into the people that are already fucking rich. That's what we do in a time of crisis. And even the money that was sent to cities and municipalities and not sent to Wall Street, that money, much of it used on cops and police and courts and prisons and just ways of making this system more authoritarian. And Biden encouraged using that money for that. Something else they can't say is part of the cause of the economic crisis or difficulty is this fucking idiot proxy war we're in the middle of. Proxy war in Ukraine, which is incredibly harmful to Europe. Newsom brought up all those other European countries, right? Germany, and they're having a tough time. And Britain, and you're saying Biden's economic policy harmed Germany and Britain? Well, maybe Biden's proxy war policy which was being set up before Biden, right? It was set up during Obama for a little while, the whole proxy war in Ukraine, the extension, pushing NATO onto Russia's borders, the Maidan coup in 2014 before Trump even got into office. Much of this setting up of the proxy war, and this speaks to the fact that in the military-industrial complex, it continues to run. It doesn't matter who you put in that so-called top chair. It continues to run in this horrific way. But yeah, no, and Hannity doesn't have he doesn't have answers partially because he's an idiot, but largely because Hannity can't say things outside of the Overton window either. He can't say anything outside of your corporate allowable thought. So his argument to Biden's economic policy impacted Britain, and Hannity just goes, whereas he could have said, well, how about the proxy war in Ukraine? You don't think that impacted Britain? The fact that we blew up the Nord Stream pipeline between Russia and Germany that has now heavily impacted Germany, France, Britain, their energy. So now they're buying energy from the United States for way more. But Hannity can't admit that. Newsom can't admit that. That's outside the Overton window. Outside what you're allowed to think about.
Border security.
He inherited 1.4% inflation. It went up to 40-year high after 40-year high.
Globally, because you just brought up, so you were making an excuse for Trump's dismal jobs record related to COVID.
It wasn't a dismal jobs record.
COVID's relationship to inflation globally. And by the way, COVID and immigration impacting our inflation.
And by the way, the only reason that says "Have mercy on me, Gavin," is because I grabbed these clips from some idiot Democrat who thinks that Gavin Newsom won this debate, which he might have won it talking over Hannity more than Hannity talked over him. But really, the real winner in this debate is, again, it's dumbing America down, putting you inside allowable thinking points. You can either be for, and you could walk away from this thing thinking Hannity won. You could walk away thinking Gavin Newsom won. It wouldn't matter really to the system. As long as you're within those two sides, you're still within the system. Good. It's still working. Everything's still working. We've still got you dumbed down to the point that you're within this area of thought. And yeah, it all still serves that. Which, and look, I used to be in this realm. All right, basically I woke up around 2009, so I had about a year. The beginning of Obama. I mean, I've always been anti-right wing, I've always been standing up for humanity and all those things. What hadn't woken up in me yet was the fact that the Democrats were not going to do any of that. No matter how much they promised, they were never going to do any of that. So so I woke up around then, and most people think that you can solve these problems within those two. So you can walk away thinking Hannity's got it right. You walk away thinking Gavin Newsom's got it right. You're still within that area. And the system is still winning. The system still has you dumb enough that you aren't seeing the answers, which are outside of that system. All right, let's get to another clip.
Our president. I have great confidence in his
I don't want him to fail.
Been able to accomplish.
I think his policies are failing.
CHIPS Act.
And you know why? You know why Hannity can say I don't want him to fail, is because Hannity also wants 80% of the same things Gavin Newsom does, and that's what can't. That's another thing. Perhaps that's the heart of what can't be admitted here, right? Both of these guys want capitalism to continue. Both of these guys want the American hegemony, American empire around the world. They both want it to continue. They both want there to continue to be around 800 U.S. military bases around the world. They want the U.S. to continue to dominate other countries and tell them what to do. They want the global South to continue to be impoverished in order to enrich the global North and specifically the United States. They want the oligarchs and the rich in this country to continue to run things. This is two white male multi-millionaires telling you that the system should continue as is. But you wouldn't think that, right? If you didn't really dig deeper, you watch this and you go, wow, these guys don't agree on anything. They hate each other. Oh my God, this is two different worldviews. But it's not. That's the brilliance. That's the fucking brilliance of our propaganda. It's the same shit. You think there's two sides. There are two sides. These two guys, these two multi-millionaire old white dudes, probably only 20 years older than me, but still, old white dudes. And well, I guess Hannity's kind of orange. So old orange dudes agree on 80 to 90% of this world. And yet here they are, and you, and not you, but the average American watches it and goes, wow, I can't believe the other side believes that. Because whichever side you're on, if you're for Hannity or Fox News, you're going, I can't believe that Governor of California, Lefty McLefterson, believes that. And if you're for Gavin Newsom, you go, I can't believe Fox News and Hannity believes that. And never once is there a pause, a breath, a moment, a fucking split second, a pube's hair of width of a moment where people go, hey, these two agree on like almost everything. They actually agree on almost everything. Isn't that amazing how that propaganda works? It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's such a great show. It's such great theater to act like these two are on completely different sides. I mean, Gavin Newsom looks teary-eyed. Looks like he's going to break down because he can't believe this guy's so wrong on everything. It's a good thing all we agree on is American empire, American exploitation, capitalism, and oligarchy. As long as it's amazing we only agree with that. Consumerism, you know.
Science Act, do you oppose that?
I will tell you on every measure from the economy, inflation, borders, energy, national security, he's missing in action.
Let's talk about them in order.
Hang on.
Wait, but I want to challenge the premise. You said the economy, 13.1 million jobs he's created. More.
These are post-COVID jobs. Okay. You know that. That's an artificial number.
No. Then let me stipulate this as an opportunity to engage civilly on this.
Okay.
Fair point. Your president, Donald Trump, lost 2.6 million jobs during his 4 years. We've created 13.1 million. Fine, you can maintain a COVID frame. How about the fact that Joe Biden's created more jobs, 6 times more jobs than the previous 3 Republican presidents combined?
Now, you see what they're arguing about. One of them says Trump created more jobs. The other one says Biden created more jobs, right? And they present that to you as if those are the two sides that your brain could ever have. Trump created more jobs or Biden created more jobs. That's it. Those are the two sides, and there is nothing beyond those two sides. That is the edge of the playing field, right? Either Biden created more jobs, Trump created more jobs. Here's an idea. Why wage slavery? What? Why? Why is that the system? Why do you wake up and go into a job you hate just to survive? Why is that a thing? Why is that how this works? Like they can't, like that is nowhere in the room. That idea cannot be in the room. That idea, mainstream media is just two old white guys arguing about who put more people into wage slavery. Now, this doesn't mean I don't want people to have jobs and be able to support their lives. It just means, could we have a second where we go, also, this system's pretty fucking insane, isn't it? Could we have that moment? No, we can't. Instead, we just have these two guys arguing, Trump made 4 jobs and Biden made 8 jobs. And you can never actually get to the heart of any of this shit. Furthermore, Gavin Newsom saying like, we made 13 million jobs. That's because people are working. People are, and I don't know again, there's a million ways to milk these numbers and switch them around and all this shit, but that's because people are often working 3 jobs. Wow, you created a lot of jobs. In fact, you created 3 with that one guy. That one guy just got 3 jobs. Yeah, you can create a lot of jobs. Everybody's got 2 and 3 jobs just to survive. It's amazing how many jobs you can create. Furthermore, when people stop looking for work, when they just throw their hands up and go, I'm fucked, that actually does not count as as unemployed. Because they're not looking for work. So it's, again, there's a bunch of ways to milk these numbers, but they will never get to anything outside capitalism. It's just the entire, I mean, imagine the brain damage of that idea that all of the people arguing about all of this shit on all of the TV channels can never stop and go, oh, so this system is fucked, right? Right? Wouldn't it be great if one guy go, also, like 90% of people in this country and maybe in this world but really in this country are not doing what they want to with their lives. Should we talk about that at all? Should we, do we have a second? Oh, no. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. And then he sits down or he's like taken out back and shot or some shit. Like never a moment. That's another dangerous idea. That's why I'm calling this show Dangerous Ideas. Because God forbid we think about what labor is. The fact it's actually called labor. You're laboring. Why do people have to labor their lives away? It'd be one thing if we were laboring our lives away and it's because, the island you were on was about to crash into a mountain and you all had to build a wall to stop. You spent your whole life building a wall to stop them from crashing or what. Like, it'd be one thing if just like, it's just a crazy tsunami coming, but it's coming 5 years from now. So we need to spend the next 5 years, or even if you're in the middle of World War II and it's like, we need everyone to labor to build planes. And everyone's like, all right, I will labor to build planes so we can survive and beat the Nazis, which now we're apparently fans of in Ukraine. But it'd be one thing if you labor, but instead it's like spending your whole life laboring so that some douchebag can buy a coffee at a douche cafe. so that some asshole can buy a t-shirt at a douche R Us. That's what our labor is. But no, can't even pause for that. Let's see, was there anything else in this clip?
Are you going to tell me that the average family, where we have 2/3 of Americans now living paycheck to paycheck,
it was 70% under Trump. That was 70%. It was 70% under Donald Trump.
Pre-COVID, we had the lowest.
Did you catch this? I think it actually was true that those numbers are roughly correct from what I've seen. 64. I know that last year 64% of Americans said at some point in the past month they didn't know where they were going to find the money for basic necessities. So that's 2/3 roughly. But so is 70%. That's just about 2/3 too. So that actually was a key moment that no one paid any attention to, I'm sure. That was a key moment. Hannity said 2/3 of America, so 66%, are living paycheck to paycheck. Don't know how to pay for, or aren't sure how they're going to pay for basic necessities. 66%. Newsom then said, under Trump, it was 70%. That's the difference between those two assholes there. And the difference between Biden and Trump, 4%. 4% is the difference of all of their policies. It's 4%. And under one of these assholes, 66% are living paycheck to paycheck. Under another one of these assholes, 70%. Even if those numbers are correct, 4%. To me, they should have just paused the interview right there and been like, blue, 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 blue. We've gotten to the point of this whole thing. these two, your entirety of debate that these two are so angry about, going back and forth, 4% difference. 4%. That's the difference between all of them. That's the difference between Democrats and Republicans, 4%. On everything. It's just 4%.
Unemployment rate for every demographic.
We have the lowest black unemployment in history, and you and I are living with the lowest unemployment in our lifetime, Sean.
We had it for every demographic, and the economy was
black unemployment's record low under Joe.
Also, shouldn't that give them pause? 66%, 66% of Americans are either living paycheck to paycheck or have trouble paying for basic necessities. 66%. And yet, Gavin Newsom just said, this is the lowest unemployment in our history. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's right and say those numbers are correct. You've got lowest unemployment, meaning everybody in America or close to it that wants a job has one, and yet you still have 66% living paycheck to paycheck? The fuck kind of system is that? That's a system where those jobs are not paying them very well, are not treating people very well under Trump or Biden. But of course, they can't say that, right? They have to stick within this world that acts as if the two sides of this trash heap, of this dumpster fire, Biden and Trump are the two sides of all thought. It's insanity. All right, let's do, I think I have one more clip from these clowns. Oh, maybe two more clips. Let's see. Oh, this is a short one about immigration.
They told they were going to get certain court dates changed. They were dropped off. They knocked on the door and they left, and it was not coordinated. I mean, what kind of faith tradition allows for this?
There is a video.
So I love this hypocrisy. So he's talking about, you remember this stunt that was done by DeSantis where he takes immigrants in Florida, undocumented immigrants, and he flies them to what the right wing calls sanctuary cities. He flies them to areas that say they're going to care for immigrants. And he shipped one of them to California, one of these flights. And they're all lied to. The immigrants are told that if they get on the flight, they'll get all these things or whatever. And then they're just dropped off and they're really lied to. But Newsom there, and Hannity thinks it's a great idea. Sure. Fuck him. But Newsom there goes, what kind of faith allows for treating human beings like that? Now, keep in mind, Newsom and Biden, the guy he's defending, abuse immigrants all day long. They still have children in cages. There were children in cages under Trump. There were children in cages under Obama. They abuse human beings all day long. Under Biden, under Trump, under Obama, deported more people than any president before him. Trump then beat that record for 4 years, obviously not for 8 years. And yet here's Newsom going, what kind of faith, what kind of religion allows for you to treat human beings like that? Does he not hear himself? Yeah, maybe under Biden, if it were up to Biden's administration or up to Gavin Newsom's administration, they wouldn't fly immigrants across the country and drop them in a place they don't want to be. But there's no difference between that and what's going on at the border right now, the abuse that's going on for immigrants right now all across this country. The poor. All of a sudden, Gavin Newsom and the Democrats care about immigrants. They destroy more lives, not to mention what kind of faith allows for the abuse of people all around the world that America does. The economic wars we have on countries that have killed 100,000 in Venezuela alone. What kind of humanity, understanding of humanity, empathy, anything allows you to support that kind of shit? And yet here's Gavin Newsom saying, I think Biden is an upstanding citizen. What a good guy. Cares about people. Right. No, this country abuses millions of refugees, of immigrants, of people in other countries endlessly. So this whole, like, what kind of faith? I mean, hell, at least Hannity's being honest there. He's like, I don't fucking care. They're immigrants. Fuck them. I guess Hannity's being the honest one in that moment. All right, I got one more clip here. Before we stop this, before we get into what I was wrong about, I'm going to admit being wrong. I'm going to admit, and I never admit being wrong because I'm never wrong. So, very few times. There was that one time that I did eat a meat lover's pizza on a stick at a county fair in Nebraska. And after I ate it, I was like, that was wrong. That was wrong. On so many levels. That was wrong. I'm going to head to this bathroom. I'm going to be there for the next 2-3 days. You guys have fun without me. That was what I just did was wrong. It was wrong. It was a poor choice. There was that one time. Other than that, I've never been wrong. But I'm going to admit I was wrong in a moment. All right. Let's do one more of this shit.
2021, California had 7.8% of GDP growth in this country, one of the fastest growing economies anywhere on planet Earth. This state continues to be the tentpole of the American economy. 25.6% of all American jobs came from this state in April. In the last 2 fiscal years, we enjoyed $177.7 billion in operating surpluses. We're on our way to be the 4th largest economy, eat your heart out, Germany, in the world. Number 1 in R&D, venture capital, more scientists, researchers, more Nobel laureates, more patents emanating out of this state than any other state.
Now, some of this I'm not going to be critical of. If California has more scientists than other states, okay. But what are states? I mean, he's sitting there being like, we did this and that state didn't. What is a fucking state? What's it? Oh, and that line right there, it says where Arizona is. So if you're 4 feet that way, then you are a dummy who lives in a trailer park and you don't have nearly the number of Nobel laureates that California. You know what it is? It is this toxic nationalism that has now turned into toxic statism as well. This is like, my state's better than your state. What the fuck's a state got to do with anything? What's it? Okay, you're over there. You're over that hill. You don't have the same number as Nobel laureates. How the what the? It is such a demented way to view reality. And of course, the biggest way we do it is toxic nationalism. America's number one. America's exceptional. It's exceptionalism. We can do whatever we want. We can break any laws we want. We can steal anything we want. So we do it mostly with toxic nationalism, but this is toxic statism. Now, granted, he's responding to Hannity, who likes to, Hannity and the other Fox News people love to be like, California sucks because it's left wing. It's not really left wing. It's this asshole corporatist liberalism, but they pretend it's left wing because, again, Overton window, you got to be inside these 2 allowable sides. So if you're not the right wing, then you must be the far left. When in fact, no, it's not the far left. It's liberalism. It's neoliberal shitstorm. But okay. So he does this state crap. But the Newsom is also pushing another talking point that I'm sure Hannity will debate or whatever, about growth. Well, this state has more growth. Well, this one grew more. We're growing more. Well, here's an idea. And it's just, I know, call me just fully crazy. This is just fucking nutty. But are we supposed to grow forever? And if we do, what's the end point? Oh, death. Oh, absolute death. Nothing can grow forever. And if it tries to push that, it dies. And we all die. And the environment dies. So what if we had a system where infinite growth was not required? What if we had some sort of economic system, some sort of world where just growing until the natural earth around you collapses in on itself was not the goal? But instead, you can't, what that sentence I just said, they can't say. So the two sides of this debate are Newsom saying, we grew so much, and Hannity saying, Arizona grew more, or grew more in this way, or California didn't grow right, or never once do they say, yeah, you know what grows infinitely? Cancer. And the host dies. That's how that works. That's where we're headed. And we're seeing it in the world around us. Nope, can't be said, because that's a dangerous idea, right? Very dangerous idea. All right. I'm going to move on to another topic here and stop looking at those ugly faces. But we're headed over to rumble.com/Lee Camp, where I'm going to tell everybody how I was wrong. And it has to do with COVID-19. Just giving you a little spoiler. So rumble.com/Lee Camp, I will give you the link so you can be lazy and head over there by clicking the link. If you're watching on Rumble or you're watching on leecamp.net, my locals page, it will continue exactly as is. You don't need to do anything, and we will continue in 1 minute. If you are at leecamp.net, by the way, you can get my live streams anytime. They don't disappear or anything like that. So you can watch them anytime by being a member at leecamp.net. You will also get